A critic condemns the Nigerian government for the prolonged detention of Nnamdi Kanu, despite court rulings for his release, attributing it to systemic discrimination against the Igbo people. He accuses President Bola Tinubu of being corrupt and ineffective, labeling him as a drug lord and questioning the legitimacy of his presidency. He addresses Nigerian attempts to extradite Simon Ekpa from Finland, criticizing the misinformation and claiming Finland's sovereignty prevents such actions. He emphasizes that self-determination and self-defense, as outlined in UN charters, are not crimes and criticizes the global double standards when applied to Africa. He claims that the Nigerian government actively suppresses notable Igbo leaders like Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ekpa, and Peter Obi, purely due to their ethnicity and advocacy. The Nigerian government is accused of using strategies to divide the Igbo people, citing Bianca Ojukwu's alleged role in actions against Simon Ekpa as an example. He criticizes the United Nations, European Union, and Western countries for their silence on Nigeria's alleged violations of human rights and court rulings. A systemic hostility toward the Igbo people is highlighted, claiming political, economic, and social oppression by the Nigerian state. He urges Igbo people to unite, reject internal division, and resist oppression to ensure a better future for subsequent generations. He calls on the world to recognize and address the injustices in Nigeria, advocating for open dialogue and international pressure to resolve the issues. Let me tell you a story that's been making waves, not just in Nigeria but across the world. It's about a series of events involving Simon Ekpa, the Finnish-based Nigerian political activist and agitator for the independence of Biafra, and how Finland has made its final decision regarding his extradition. This story also casts a glaring spotlight on the Nigerian government, its controversies, and its alleged systematic mistreatment of the Igbo people. A story that strikes at the heart of justice, fairness, and humanity. Let's start with Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu is the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, or IPOB, a group advocating for the independence of Biafra from Nigeria. Nnamdi Kanu's story is a tragic one. He's been languishing in detention under Nigeria's Department of State Services, despite multiple court rulings ordering his release. Every time there's a court decision, the Nigerian government seems to find a way to ignore it. It's like a cruel game they're playing, keeping him locked away as though his very existence is a threat to the nation. But why? According to critics, it's because Nnamdi Kanu is Igbo. The Igbo people, for those who don't know, are one of the three major ethnic groups in Nigeria. Historically, they've faced discrimination, marginalization, and outright hostility from successive Nigerian governments. Many say that the treatment of Nnamdi Kanu is just another example of this systemic bias. And you know, when you think about it, it does seem suspicious. How can someone who's been acquitted by courts still be in detention? How can a nation call itself a democracy while blatantly ignoring the rule of law? These are questions that Nigerians, particularly those in the southeast, have been asking for years. But Nnamdi Kanu isn't the only one in the spotlight. Simon Ekpa, who resides in Finland, has become another thorn in the side of the Nigerian government. Simon Ekpa is a staunch advocate for Biafra's independence, and his fiery rhetoric has made him a polarizing figure. Nigeria has been trying to have Simon Ekpa extradited from Finland, accusing him of inciting violence and destabilizing the region. But Finland has made it clear their laws don't permit such actions without solid evidence, and sovereignty isn't up for negotiation. This is where things get messy. The Nigerian government has been accused of spreading misinformation about Simon Ekpa. They've claimed they've submitted all the necessary documents to Finland, trying to make it seem as though his extradition is imminent. But in reality, it's all smoke and mirrors. Finland, a country known for its robust judicial system, isn't going to hand over Simon Ekpa just because Nigeria says so. This situation has exposed the weaknesses in Nigeria's approach and its lack of understanding of international law. It's like trying to break into a fortress with a stick. It's not going to work. Critics of the Nigerian government, both at home and abroad, have used this case to highlight the broader issues plaguing the country. They've pointed to the government's obsession with suppressing dissent while ignoring the more pressing problems of insecurity, hunger, and poverty. It's almost as if the government is more concerned with silencing its critics than addressing the issues that actually matter to its people. Then there's the matter of self-determination. According to the United Nations Charter, self-determination is a right. It's not a crime. People have the right to seek independence if they feel oppressed or marginalized. This is a principle that's been upheld in many parts of the world, but when it comes to Africa, it seems like the rules change. Why is that? Why is it that when people in Africa fight for self-determination, they're labeled as terrorists? It's a question that critics have been asking for years, and the silence from the international community is deafening. This silence is particularly frustrating for the Igbo people, who feel that the world has turned its back on them. They see the treatment of Nnamdi Kanu and Ekpa as part of a larger strategy to suppress their voices and weaken their resolve. Even prominent figures like Peter Obi, a respected politician and former governor, face hostility and opposition simply because they are Igbo. It's as if their very existence is a threat to the status quo. One of the most insidious strategies employed by the Nigerian government, according to critics, is the divide and conquer approach. They pit Igbo people against one another, creating divisions that weaken their collective strength. A prime example of this is Bianca Ojukwu, the widow of Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, the leader of Biafra during the Nigerian Civil War. Bianca Ojukwu has been accused of playing a role in efforts to discredit and suppress Ekpa. Whether or not these accusations are true, the perception alone is enough to sow discord among the Igbo people. And that's exactly what the government wants: division. It's heartbreaking to see a community with so much potential being torn apart by internal strife and external oppression. The Igbo people are known for their resilience, their ingenuity, and their entrepreneurial spirit. They've contributed so much to Nigeria's development, yet they're treated like second-class citizens in their own country. How is that fair? How is that just? Critics have also taken aim at the international community for its inaction. Organizations like the United Nations and the European Union are supposed to stand for justice and human rights, but when it comes to Nigeria, they've been eerily silent. The United Nations even issued a 6-month ultimatum to Nigeria to release Nnamdi Kanu and compensate him for his illegal detention. That was years ago, and nothing has happened. It's as if the world is content to look the other way while injustices continue to unfold. This brings us to the heart of the matter: unity. The Igbo people need to come together and recognize the challenges they face. They need to put aside their differences and focus on the bigger picture. Division only serves to weaken their cause and prolong their suffering. It's time for the Igbo community to stand united and demand justice, not just for Nnamdi Kanu and Ekpa, but for all Igbo people who have been marginalized and oppressed. This is a fight for the future. It's a fight for the next generation so they don't have to endure the same struggles. It's about ensuring that the Igbo people can live with dignity and pride in a country that respects their rights and values their contributions. This isn't just a Nigerian issue, it's a human issue. It's about fairness, justice, and the right to self-determination. As the story unfolds, one can only hope that the world will finally take notice and step in to address these injustices. Until then, the fight continues, and the voices of those advocating for change will not be silenced. Now, when we look at the heart of this situation, we need to take a step back and truly understand what's happening. You see, Ekpa has become a symbol of defiance for some and a target for others. For many, Ekpa represents the voice of the oppressed. He's the man who, despite being thousands of miles away in Finland, has managed to rally supporters and inspire discussions about the long-standing marginalization of the Igbo people. But here's the catch. The Nigerian government doesn't just see Simon Ekpa as an activist, they see him as a threat. And they've been trying every trick in the book to silence him. They've accused Simon Ekpa of everything from inciting violence to causing unrest in the southeast region of Nigeria. They've painted him as the mastermind behind protests, sit-at-home orders, and, as they claim, economic disruptions. The question is, how much of this is true, and how much of this is a convenient narrative to discredit him? Think about it. Simon Ekpa is not in Nigeria. He's in Finland, and yet the Nigerian government insists that he is responsible for the unrest in the southeast. Critics argue that this is simply a way to shift blame. Instead of addressing the root causes of the discontent in the region, like underdevelopment, lack of infrastructure, and political neglect, the government has chosen to focus its energy on one man. It's like trying to put out a fire by blaming the wind. But Simon Ekpa is not without his critics, even among the Igbo people. Some argue that his methods are too extreme, that his rhetoric only serves to inflame tensions and make an already bad situation worse. Others question his motives, wondering if his actions are truly for the benefit of the Igbo people, or if there's a personal agenda at play. These are valid concerns, and they add another layer of complexity to an already tangled web. Now, let's not forget about Nnamdi Kanu in all of this. Nnamdi Kanu's continued detention is a glaring example of the Nigerian government's unwillingness to follow its own laws. Remember, multiple courts have ordered his release, but those rulings have been ignored. And it's not just about Nnamdi Kanu as an individual, it's about what he represents. To many, Nnamdi Kanu is a symbol of resistance, a man who dared to challenge the status quo and demand better for his people. You know, it's easy to sit back and say, why don't they just follow the law? But in Nigeria, it's not that simple. The judicial system, while technically independent, is often undermined by political interference. It's a system where power dynamics play a bigger role than justice, and that's a tragedy in itself. Imagine living in a country where the law is more of a suggestion than a rule. It's a frustrating and frankly disheartening reality for many Nigerians. But what about Finland in all of this? The Finnish government has been crystal clear in its stance. They've said that Simon Ekpa will not be extradited unless there is concrete evidence of wrongdoing. And let's be honest, the Nigerian government hasn't exactly presented a compelling case. It's almost as if they thought they could just send a request and Finland would say, "Sure, here you go." That's not how it works. Finland operates on the rule of law, and their judicial system is one of the most respected in the world. This brings up an interesting point about how different countries view justice. In Finland, the focus is on evidence, fairness, and due process. In Nigeria, it often feels like justice is whatever those in power say it is. It's a stark contrast that highlights just how far Nigeria still has to go in terms of governance and rule of law. Now let's talk about the role of the international community, or rather the lack of it. Where is the United Nations in all of this? Where is the African Union? These are organizations that are supposed to stand up for human rights and justice, yet their silence has been deafening. Sure, the United Nations issued a directive for Nnamdi Kanu's release, but what has been done to enforce it? Nothing. It's like shouting into the void, hoping someone will hear you. The same can be said for the European Union. Finland is a member, and you'd think that the European Union would be more vocal about one of their member states being dragged into this mess. But no, it's been radio silence. And that silence speaks volumes. It tells the Nigerian government that they can continue their actions without fear of international repercussions. It tells the Igbo people that their struggles are not important enough to warrant attention. It's a slap in the face, honestly. But let's not lose hope, because despite all of this, despite the arrests, the detentions, the misinformation, there is a growing sense of unity among the Igbo people. They're beginning to see through the tactics of division and are coming together to demand change. It's not an easy journey, but it's a necessary one. I want to pause here and reflect on what this means for the future. What kind of Nigeria do we want to see? What kind of world do we want to live in? These are questions that go beyond politics and ethnicity. They're questions about humanity, about fairness, about justice. And these are questions that need answers. The story of Simon Ekpa and Nnamdi Kanu is far from over. It's a story that's still being written, with new chapters unfolding every day. But one thing is clear. The Igbo people are resilient. They've faced adversity before, and they've come out stronger. This time will be no different. So as we watch this story unfold, let's not forget the bigger picture. Let's remember that this is not just about two men. It's about a people fighting for their rights, their dignity, and their future. And that's a fight worth paying attention to.
Yes, I want Nigerian government to know that as long as Nnamdi Kanu remains in DSSS dungeon, after all the court pronouncements of his freedom, nothing will ever work in Nigeria and in the southeast. Nothing, absolutely nothing, because we are tired of we are going to meet Tinubu. We are going to talk to the government. We are trying to see the Attorney of Federation so that they will do something. They will fix his dates of hearing and all whatnot. Why Nnamdi Kanu is undergoing this punishment is because he's an Igbo man, and everybody should hear that, and everybody should know this, that because of Nnamdi Kanu is an Igbo man, that is why he's undergoing this kind of evil treatments by the so-called drug lord President Tinubu. Now, I also want Tinubu to understand, no matter the negotiation you are negotiating with Finland, any government officials in the world, you can never be productive with whatever you are planning. You can never. I'm telling you, Tinubu, you can never be productive because you are a drug lord, you are a certificate forger, a criminal, and a thief, a kleptomaniac. That is who Tinubu is. We don't paint words here. We tell you the simple truth. Selena, whatever, Celine or whatever came from Finland, and then your media propaganda started. Oh, they are coming to have bilateral agreements on how to extradite Ekpa to Nigeria, on how Ekpa is being. You know you are lying. You people know you are criminals. You are trying to deceive the world because Tinubu is a thief. If you have channeled all this your energy of wanting to bring Simon Ekpa, Nnamdi Kanu down, the agitation in the southeast now, if you have channeled all these things to the insecurity in the southeast, the insecurity in Nigeria, the hunger in Nigeria, people would have said, oh, you are doing a great work. But you channeled all this your energy to the Igbos that are speaking out the evil that you people are doing in Nigeria. And Christopher Musa, you don't even know what is coming, do you? You don't know. You kept lying. Every day when they ask you about Ekpa, every day you submit documents to Finnish authority. It is every day that Musa submits documents. Every day we are still submitting documents. I thought you said you have everything is in your power. You want to bring Ekpa back. Oh, now you realize that Finland is a sovereign nation. Is it? You now realize that same Finland is now a sovereign nation, that they have their own procedure. But why were you lying to people? Why were you lying before? That Ekpa we have submitted all the evidences, exhibits that Ekpa will still be extradited. It's not my extradition. Can you see how dumb you people are in the head? And then somebody came the other day, was writing, I read your comment section, you were writing rubbish on my comment section, that can't you see, Nigerians are scared of coming to Finland to defend themselves, but the ambassador is here in Nigeria. How dumb you people can be. When you people speak, we know that Nigeria poverty mentality has eaten you people deep not to think outside the box. That woman honestly came to resume in her office, and by every means necessary, by right, by constitution, she has to go and meet with the president, because that is the person she will be working in their country. And now the criminal drug lord media teams fired the internet. Oh, they have come to discuss bilateral agreement on how to extradite. Can you see how dumb you people are? When people that are reasoning, people like us are reasoning to come and tell you what is actually going on in the Western world, you don't want to hear. You want to hear that lies from Nigeria because they call them government, because they wear uniform. By the way, you people should understand that Tinubu is an illegitimate president. Illegitimate. And we will keep hammering it on his head. That as long as our leader, Nnamdi Kanu, is still detained in DSSS dungeon, bro, nothing is happening. Oh, why do you even know? Because self-determination is not a crime. Self-defense is not a crime, as enshrined in the UN Charter. The same thing, that is what we are doing to defend our people. And I wonder why in some cases self-determination becomes a crime in other countries. When it concerns the Africans, it becomes a crime. When people are defending themselves, they call those people terrorists. Why is it like that? I need to ask the world this question, because it's only in the Western world that self-determination is not a crime. Self-defense is not a crime. But if it happens in any other African country, they call them terrorists and bandits. Example, Dr. Cho Ayoba, fighting for the independence of his people, and Norway arrested him, picked him up, and they didn't go to Cameroon to ask what is the problem, investigate this poor bear that has been there since I was born. And they arrested Dr. Cho Ayoba today. It is only in Africa when a leader said enough is enough. When some group of people comes to say enough is enough, this is who will want to become our leader. No, it is not the case. So where is that self-defense? Where is those laws that works in the Western world? It doesn't work in Africa, is it? This is a question I'm putting out there for the world to answer. Does this law not work in Africa? Nnamdi Kanu started his detention. A British national. Nigerian government went as far as Kenya to kidnap this individual, and no sanction has been given to Nigeria. That is why they are all messing up everywhere. That is why Nigerian government can mess up everywhere. That is why they can be killing the Igbos, go to the southeast and kill our people, and then Christopher Musa with his boys will now bring armored tankers to where innocent, peaceful Igbos are living to destroy their houses, and the world is seeing all this. So does it mean that we the Africans does not have right to self-determination? If the constitution is going to be changed because of Africans, let us know. Went as far as Kenya, kidnapped a man that was fighting for the freedom of his people, brought him back to Nigeria. Today, what is the problem? From one court case to another, and the Nigerian courts has discharged and acquitted this man. Then the Nigerian government stay of execution over its own citizen. I wonder where in the world this has ever happened. And this man is languishing in DSSS dungeon for 5 years, and the world is silent. And I keep asking, what is really going on? Is this self-determination only applicable to the Westerners and is not applicable to the Africans? That is my question. Our Prime Minister, was defending his land from these Western aggressions and from this Nigerian terrorist army, being asked to come to the southeast to kill our people, headed by Musa. Our Prime Minister started defending us, defending the land, defending our forests, defending our farmlands, homes. Nigerian government wrote petition without any investigation before they invited our Prime Minister. Our Prime Minister was taken down, and the world is just quiet. All this evil happening. The same UN that is speaking today was the same UN that gave Nigeria 6 months ultimatum to release and arrest and compensate adequately to Nnamdi Kanu, and bring all the people that went for that mission of kidnap from Kenya to Nigeria, to bring them to book. Nigeria never paid attention to that. Nigeria never responded to that, and they are quiet. The world is quiet. The EU is quiet. The UN is quiet after flouting the orders of the EU. And now we say, let us take the bull by the horn ourselves. And now you people are arresting everybody that is fighting our cause. What is the problem? What is happening? Is the Western world law meant for only the Westerners? Because this is what we need to know. Realistically, this thing is no longer making any sense. The black man will talk, they will beat him down, they will bring him down. How many times has the black man gone to Europe or go to any parliament in the Europe and said, no, this is not how you must divide your country. This is how I want you to divide your own country. And that stands. How many times have we come to the Western world and tell you how to live your lives? But why do you do it in Africa? And yet you call us dumb ass, dumb heads. And I want the Nigerian government to know this, that without the release of Nnamdi Kanu, everything that is mentioned Nigeria in the southeast, I think you people should know that very soon, things will start happening. Things will start happening because self-defense is not a crime. Fighting for your self-defense is not a crime, and fighting for your freedom is not a crime, as enshrined in UN Charter 51. So please, the world should listen carefully. Tinubu is a drug lord. Now, Selina Selin from Finland came to Nigeria to submit a resumption letter, you know, and sat down to discuss with her. All of a sudden it becomes a crime that this lady has come to talk about Mazi Ekpa. So you see, when I tell you people that the media carries propaganda a lot. The media are the people who communicate information to the public. Nigerian stream media is very bad. They are very worst. So do not listen to them. Do not listen to them, because they will come put fear in you. Biafra mandate, we are standing on our mandate. Tinubu stood on his mandate. And Christopher Musa should know that Biafra is now a sovereignty, is a sovereign nation, so he should remove his terrorist army from our land. You know, we are telling you now, you think we are joking, you think we are playing, you think because when you come and talk, because you are a general, you wear that nonsense uniform, your pride, you know, your ego rises. So please remove your terrorist army from our land, because I'm not going to say what you don't want to hear, but please remove all your terrorist army and your institutions, your police, starting from your police, your army, your navy. Every institution that is being owned by Nigerian government should be removed in our land, should be removed. And Biafrans, our prime minister, will join us very soon. So forget all this propaganda that they're propagating on the internet. And the Nigerian government, you know, you people can't come to Finland to defend all your shenanigans. You can't come there. I know you cannot come. You cannot come. I have betted you people. Bianca Ojukwu, thank you so much. You know, I keep thanking you for what you have done to your people, for the evil that they use you to do to the Biafrans. But I believe that after Tinubu's 4 or 8 years, you remain in the west. You don't come to the southeast, because if you come, I don't know the face you used to walk on the streets, because full shame no the shame. Shame no go ever shame am. But if you decide to come back, then any Biafrans play for you, you will dance to it. Biafrans, believe that we're heading home.
This is the end of our news update. Please click the icon on the top right corner of your screen to watch my next video. You will enjoy it. I will see you again in my next update. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye for now.